Welcome back. The next step in our install Odyssey is going to be to install Apache Tomcat. We'd have a bunch of different versions that are available. Let's stick with Tomcat 7.0. It looks like the 8.0 isn't quite integrated with Eclipse yet. At least I didn't see it as an option. Um, we may revisit and reinstall 8.0, but for right now, let's do 7.0. There's a bunch of different installs that are available depending on the operating system. I'm going to go with the 32-bit, 64-bit Windows self-installer, service installer, excuse me. Let this run. Now, I already have this installed, so I may bail out at the last step, but I should be able to run through the other steps. Let's see what happens. It's thinking. As soon as that's available, we're going to go for it. Okay. Run the program. Welcome. Click Next. Accept. I agree. Download everything. It's not going to hurt anything. The host manager and examples can't hurt. Give it a next. Now this is where it's a little tricky. You might want to get a pen and paper and write these down. Your ports that it's going to use. 8005 for the shutdown port, 8080 for the HTTP port, and 8009 for the connector port. You may have other services that are running, and they may have already been using these ports. So, for instance, 8080 is a port that's used by internet, right? So any internet service is going to run 8080. That's why you don't have to use a port number when you go to a regular web page, because it defaults to 8080. If you're running IIS, which is the Microsoft version of this, Microsoft equivalent of Apache Tomcat, it may be already having a service running on port 8080 and may conflict. You can change these ports if you want. I've seen when we install, we'll try maybe 8081. Ports 0 through 9999 are available. There's certain ports that are expected on. Let me explain. FTP is expecting a certain port. SFTP or HTTPS is expecting a certain port. There's other ports to choose from. If this is a conflict, I would try 8081. I think on my version, when I installed it, I'm running on port 8079. But you get the idea. The service name is going to be called Tomcat 7. What does that mean? If you go under services.msc for Windows, these are the services or background tasks that are running on my computer. There's a whole bunch of background tasks. If I look and see, I've got Apache Tomcat 7.0 already running. Or it's actually, I have it stopped right now. I have to right click and start it. If I want to start or stop processes, I can right click this and click start. It will start. I believe I have it stopped because I'm also running sort of a version of this on Eclipse, and it would conflict with the version that's running on my own machine. All right, so let's click next. I'm not going to make any changes, but you may have to make changes. Click next. Don't change this. Remember I said before about it will ask you where either JDK or JRE is. So let's say for this one, please select the path here, Java JDK or JRE. I'm going to select that other Java that I installed, 1.751. Click next. That's going to be the place where it installs. It's going to go to Program Files, Apache Software Foundation, to Tomcat 7.0. If I click Install, it will install Tomcat on my machine. I'm not going to install because I already have it installed. Let's cancel for a second. Now, you would have not canceled it. I did cancel it. There we go. Under Apache Tomcat, these icons would have been put for you automatically. I missed one thing. I did miss one thing. Let's go back to downloads, and I'm going to run that program manually again. I did miss one thing. There's a place where, there it is, where the ports are at. where you can specify your own user and password for the administrator to log on. Just so I know which. Sometimes they, in other words, they default to like admin password. Um, I use CIS 475 and CS 475 for my own personal login. You'll see what I'm talking about. If I go to Apache Tomcat, I go to the host manager. Okay, it says could not connect to 127.0.0.1 That's because it's not running. Remember I said before in my services where it wasn't running? Let's go back to services and start it and see if I can get it to connect then. Here's Apache Tomcat. Start it. Okay, the process is started. So I should be able to connect. There we go. So as soon as I refresh, I hit F5, it's going to ask me for my user password. I'm already using 475 and CISC 475 login. Sure enough, my Apache's working. So the website, it's either going to be 127.0.0.1 or you can say localhost. But remember, you also have to put the port number, because if you don't put the port number, it's going to expect that it's on port 8080. If that makes sense. If it's not port 8080, you have to specify the port. So it's localhost colon 8079 for me. Everything looks like it's installed, it's running. Tomcat's ready to go. Again, later on we're going to see how to integrate Eclipse with Tomcat when we install Eclipse. For right now, I should have JDK 1.7 and Tomcat installed on my host computer. Next video is how to install Eclipse. See you then.